This will be a fairly small video where we'll be learning how to create a CLI quiz in Golang. In this process, we'll learn a few things like how to use command line arguments and flags, and we'll be using Go routine and timer to check if the time's up or not for the quiz, and we'll also be learning how to read CSV files in Golang. So our project flow would be something like this. So the first thing we'll do is we'll parse the CLI flags. We'll be taking two flags, the CSV file and the time limit in seconds for the quiz, and then program would read the CSV file assigned, and it would also have a default problems.csv file if no CSV file is given, and the default time limit would be 30 seconds. So the first thing we'll do is parse these flags, and then we'll check if the time limit is a positive integer or not. As it is, as with anything that is passed by the user, we should check its integrity, like the value is as it's supposed to be. So we'll check if the time limit is a positive integer, and we'll check if the CSV file exists or not, and we'll show the error messages accordingly if not. So then we'll convert this CSV file content into a 2D list. So a CSV file would contain question and answer string pairs. Okay, so it will be converted into 2D list. So each list would have two strings, question and answer, and this list we would extract from this CSV file. And then after the extraction, we'll start the timer in a separate Go routine. I'll show you how it is done, and then our program would stop in one of the two conditions. The first one would be if the timer ran out, and the second one would be if all the questions are answered. These two things will occur in a separate Go routine. So if the timer runs out, it will show the message that the time has ran out, and then at the end it will show the final score. And otherwise it will continue. It will check if all the answers are answered. If all the questions are answered, then also it will simply show the final score and exit. If all the answers are not been answered, then it will display the question and take the user input and check the answer if it is right or wrong, and it will show the correct answer, and this will loop over. So first let's create a questions the problems CSV file. Fine, so for time being we are just writing these three problems. Now we'll create the main function. So now let's check our task list. So the first thing we have to do is pass the flags. For this we'll be using flag package, which is a built-in standard module standard package in Golang. So first let me show how this flag works. We can take in any flags, like flags can be of the type boolean, or it can be of type duration, or it can be of type float64, integer, and strings, and uints, and there are many types of inputs that we can take from the command line. So here I am just taking in a string from the command line. The first argument here is the name of the argument. The second is the default value, like if nothing is provided, what would be the value assigned to it, and the third is the usage instructions, like if someone asks for the help, it will show this message for this command. I'll just show you how this works. So it shows in this that -c sv argument takes a string, and this is the help argument. The CSV file path must which has the format question comma answer, and the default argument is problems.csv, and this returns a pointer to a string. I have stored it in a file name pointer, This contains the file name and it's a pointer. And similarly, we'll take in the timer pointer. This would be an int. So this way we'll be parsing all the arguments. So we have completed the first task. Then you have to check if the time limit is a positive integer. This is fairly easy. And then we'll check if the CSV file exists or not. So now we have checked if the CSV file exists or not. Then we'll read this CSV file into a to-do list. So for that we'll be using the default encoding/CSV package. I'm storing it in a new CSV reader, and we'll call the read all function, which returns the list of lists, the 2D string that we need and the error. So we'll check for this. Then after reading this 2D file, we'll start the timer in a separate Go routine. Here we have declared a function and called it, and by putting the Go keyword in front of it, it will be spawned in a separate Go routine. So this will be our function, and by these parentheses we have called it, and with this keyword we have spawned it into a separate Go routine. So for timer we'll use the new time.new timer function, and we have to typecast the time into the duration data type, and that duration is in seconds. So this new timer function returns a pointer to the timer, and this pointer to the timer has a .c channel, and this channel gives out the value only when the timer has passed, like this duration has passed. So we can access that channel with the .c here, and we'll wait till it returns something. Fine. And when this duration is passed, only then it will come to the next line, and here we'll print that timeout and we'll exit. And here we'll also print score. This function we haven't implemented yet, but we'll show. So this whole thing will happen in a separate Go routine and won't affect the main thread. Like after this, this Go routine will be spawned, and it will wait till this time has passed, and then it will continue forward. By the time this is happening, it will continue executing these lines. So now we'll start a for loop which will carry on these things until all the questions are exhausted. So now we are looping over all the questions. In theory we can access the answer this way, but there is a problem that if someone changes the CSV to have some extra spaces here and there, so technically the CSV file isn't correct, but the CSV reader would assume it to have extra spaces. So for that we'll just trim out all these spaces using the strings.trimSpace function. So to access the user's answer, first I tried to use the fmt.scan, but it accepts only one word of the user answer. But it may so happen that our answer may have more than one word, right? So for that we'll use buffio.reader. So I'll show you how it works. So here I have stored the user answer, and we'll also trim this as well using strings.trimSpace function to allow for the possible errors that a user may have added extra spaces. So now we'll compare these two answers. So to make this look better, we'll add some check mark emojis. So we'll keep track of the score as a global variable, and we'll just increment the score here. So at the end, we'll just call the print score function. And here we'll define the print score function. I think this should work. We'll assign the CSV as problems.csv file, and we'll assign limit to be, let's say, 10 seconds. Okay, here's the error. The QNAS, it should have been QNA. Sorry for that. Yeah. So it works fine. Thanks for watching.